Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Frank, and today I'm going to do something different, and what I'm going to introduce you to my friend Gary. Hi Gary.
Hi Frank, thanks for inviting me to your beautiful studio here.
We've got it set up here in the backyard at the house. What we're going to do today is I'm going to do a quick interview of another expediter. I've been telling you a little bit about what we do in our daily life, and I thought it'd be cool since Gary's in town. He's leaving on a load tomorrow. And I figured I'd get a different perspective. So, Gary, how long have you been expediting?
A little over 6 years with the same company and the same truck owner.
Okay. Gary drives for a fleet owner. So he doesn't own the truck. He makes a percentage of whatever the truck earns. 6 years, how did you get into expediting?
It was a desperation job. I owned my own business for over 10 years. I lost that business in about 2008, and trucking was a move of desperation, and I fell in love with it after I started. It turned out to be very good for me.
What are the 3 things that you like most about being an expediter and being on the road? What would you say?
Well, of course, I think the top 3 would be, one would be the travel. I didn't know that I would be in Las Vegas today. I knew yesterday that I would be in Las Vegas today.
Right.
So the spontaneity of the travel,
right,
which I think some people might have a problem with, but I love. I think most expeditors have that going on with them. But
now, excuse me, hold on a second. Now you don't drive with your significant other. You have
I have a co-driver.
A
male co-driver.
A male co-driver. Okay. So the spontaneity travel. Go ahead. Sorry.
The spontaneity travel. The other thing that I would like is the independence. When your job is done, when you drop off the load, you are done with it. There's no calls a week later asking you about what happened to this or what about this. You are done with your job when you deliver that load. You have fulfilled your obligation to the company, so you're free to go on to the next thing. So the other thing that I like is the above average pay. The pay versus the work put into it. The mechanics of driving to me are very easy.
It's mundane. It's just kind of automatic.
Holding the steering wheel, if you will, and the amount of pay as an expediter is nice. So pay, travel, and the independence would be the top 3.
Okay, now we know the top 3 things that you love about expediting. Now the $1 million question: what are the top 3 things that you don't like about it?
Also, along with traveling, being away from home. Everything I love is at home. My girlfriend is at home. The house that I love is at home. So I don't care for being away from home for long periods of time. Like I would consider, if I was away from home for a week, that'd be great. But 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks away from home, it's too long for me.
Or in our case, 2, 3, 4, 5 months at a time.
And you're with your wife.
Yeah, I bring sand to the beach, so it's easier for me.
Exactly. The other thing is the broken sleep, and it's very easy for me to go back to sleep. But when you think of the mechanics of driving with a co-driver, the shifting of the gears, even though it's an automatic, there's a lurching motion to the truck, which sounds like I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but it's
a big deal.
It's significant. And when my co-driver stops in the middle of the night, you feel every bump. And again, I go back to sleep quickly, but it's still the fact that I'm woken up several times during the night. And which brings into the third aspect. The things I don't like about driving is the swing shift type driving shift. You never know what hours I'll be driving on what day. And I know I could fix that by setting a set schedule, but
I have set shifts, and normally I drive from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That way I deal with most of the traffic every day. I deal with most of the shippers, and I deal with most of the receivers. Listening to what you were saying and the things that you love and you don't like, I think that's a common thread that you're going to find along a lot of truckers. The things are being gone and stuff like that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. One of the things that's awesome about us and what we do, and I think, is that your normal truckers, they're pulling a 53-foot trailer. They've got, an 18-foot rig. They're combined 65 to 70 foot long, and they don't get the freedom to park the places we park. and stop and smell the coffee as you order. It's like she says, I fits, I sits.
I think the amount of attention too, the traditional truck drivers, the articulated vehicles, have to pay for lane control. Actually, the mechanics of driving, it's much more stressful than we have. I describe it to a lot of people driving the straight truck, although you still have to pay attention. It's still a large commercial vehicle, but I describe it as driving a motorhome that hauls freight.
Right, I agree.
But that's my choice to do. I don't have any aspirations to be a tractor trailer driver.
I guess one of the differences that I think is really great is in most truck driving, in the truck driving industry as a whole, you get to see the whole country at 55 miles an hour, unless you drive for certain companies that I won't mention. You get to see it at 85 miles an hour. They're going like this down the road. So, but with us, the nature of expediting is that you deliver your freight, and sometimes we're pre-dispatched 3-4 loads. Those are awesome.
Yes.
Until one cancels in the middle.
Right.
And then you lose them all.
But sometimes, like our friend Christy and Steve this weekend, they're in Bordentown, New Jersey. They're going to the Amish market. Hi, Christy and Steve. We're in Las Vegas. Gary's in Las Vegas. So he doesn't have to pick up till Monday, right?
That's correct.
And it's in Utah, so he's still got about 400 miles to drive or so.
Yeah, a little over.
But
that.
I mean, he gets to hang out with us, and we went to the Pippa Mill, and you know.
If I did not know yourself and your wife, I would have gotten my bicycle out of the back of the truck. I know the lay of the land in Las Vegas. I would have went downtown. I would have went to the Arts District. I would have went to Whole Foods, hung out, which sounds strange, but I like your coffee. But I know the lay of the land. I would not have sat in the truck stop today if you were not here. I would have done something else. I know where the movie theater is. I would have done shopping. I would have done sightseeing.
So the thing about expediting, which you'll agree, is that we get to get out of the truck.
Yes.
We get to go see these places.
If you choose to.
Yeah, if you choose to. There's a lot of our friends, you guys know who you are, our friends, that stay in the truck all weekend long. Jeff, I don't know how Denise let you get away with it.
Saving money.
Yeah, they're saving. That's well, saving money. And you know, there has to be a delicate balance to saving money and spending money and enjoying what your life and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be out here, this is a sacrifice for us to be out on the road and doing the things that we're doing. If we're going to be making that sacrifice, there has to be some kind of reward.
Yes.
It's a trade-off.
Yeah. You see a lot of drivers, and I'm not being judgmental, but who appear to be destitute. And there's no way I would live out on the road and not have money to enjoy myself. And I'm talking money like to see a movie or buy a coffee or something. Like there's no way I would live out here doing this job if the revenue wasn't good enough to
right. And one of the things that I wanted to key on in my vlog is the ability to become debt-free. And you know, I'm a semi-disciple.
Fight the power.
Fight the power.
Don't be a financial slave.
Don't be a financial slave. And so there's a book that I want to recommend to you, to everybody. And it's a short read. You might have read it. I don't think you've read it. And it's called The Richest Man in Babylon. Richest Man in Babylon, the premise of the book is pay yourself first. And if you're going out and spending money to go party or to go spend in a hotel, that's not paying yourself first. And what the premise is, take 10% of every penny you earn before you even touch it and put it away for savings. Pay yourself first. Put that money away and save it. I'm a disciple of Dave Ramsey. I'll put links in description below. If you don't know about Dave Ramsey, you're missing out. He will change your life if you listen. I listen somewhat. I'm not 100%, dedicated. I'm not disciplined. I guess that's the word. And that's something that you and I talked about earlier. I mean, you can have all the ambitions in the world and want to do, conquer the world and do everything. If you don't have discipline, you don't have anything. I'm getting too preachy. We talked about 3 things that you liked, how you got into it and everything, 6 years. What changes have you seen from when you started in the expediting business to...
Yeah, the rates have changed. And the rates the rates per mile have remained stagnant to me. Everyone's kind of shooting for, seems like $2 a mile, $2 a mile. Well, the price of everything else, the gentleman that owns my truck his insurance has gone up, his maintenance has gone up, shop rates have gone up, but the rates that our carrier, everyone
The cost of the truck.
yeah, the cost of the trucks have gone up. The rates have stayed pretty much stagnant, stale. They haven't gone up, and I think that's partly due to the ease of entry into the expediting business. Everyone, all you have to do is slap expediting on your name, and you're an expediter.
You're kind of a little bit of an old school expediter, 6 years, which gives you in expediting. There's a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, 6 years doing something is. I think you have to be able to adapt, just like in life and anything else. You have to be able to adapt. We have already in 2 years seen a lot of changes.
Sure.
I don't know. It gets to a certain when you've been out on the road, or if we get back-to-back runs and you end up going back and forth across the country, and you're almost running out of hours, and you're worried about it. It doesn't matter who you're with. If you're sharing that kind of space on that kind of pace,
Right.
you're going to get aggravated, and you're really going to.
Little things become big things.
Yeah, little things become big things. I have another thing. Gary, where do you live?
Port Huron, Michigan, about 65 miles north of Detroit.
Is the sun bothering you?
That's all right. Your
Okay.
hand scares me more. But yeah, so right on the Canadian border.
Okay. Hopefully I can fix that later. Were you born in Michigan?
Born and raised in Michigan. Was in the military for a while. Lived in Nashville very briefly. But then back to Michigan. So very happy where we're at. My
Very
girlfriend
cool.
and I have our own home and friends and family there. So really like where we're at. We're near the water. We're near the Canadian border. So yeah, I like it. It's enjoyable.
What would you say to somebody that's new coming into the business? Let's say, look, I'm going to break this into like a two-part question, okay? Maybe 3 parts. You meet a couple. They're young, 25, let's say. No kids. Married, they want to have kids someday, and they're just starting the expediting business. What kind of advice are you going to give them?
Don't have kids. Hate kids. Children. They're small.
Gary,
They
you wanna move
smell.
over here? I'm cold.
They're noisy. So don't have kids.
Hold on a second. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Watch this. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to do a magic trick. Are you ready?
Yep.
You ready? 1, 2, 3. And here we are.
So yeah. So getting back to your question, as a driving couple, you could save a tremendous amount of money and put that into your savings and buy a home later, buy a car later. So that'd be my advice. We've talked about this to
Right.
young
And,
couples.
I think I told you that today. It's like my big thing was like, if I can take and show these young couples, like I was talking about Dave Ramsey, and he talks about Dave Ramsey's tagline is where the paid off home mortgage has replaced the BMW as the status level of choice.
Right.
Okay? I mean, think about that. A paid off home mortgage. You're starting a family, you're 32, 33, whatever, and you're going to start your family. And you're starting that family with no debt, with a house that's paid for, with your car that's paid for. What kind of advantages are you going to have? If you're going to be able to pay attention to your kid a lot more, you're going to be able to pay attention to their education. You're not going to be stressed about feeding that child as much. There's just a lot of things. So that's one thing. So now you got the young people. Now you've got the empty nesters. Like I'm late 40s. We're empty nesters. So we're coming out. What kind of advice do you give to those people?
I think the same thing. I mean, your earning potential as a couple is fantastic. I mean, and you're with your significant other or your wife, and again, save money, put money away for investments, retirement. But why have a house payment? Why have a car payment? Live on the road, having adventures, seeing the country. I mean, that's another benefit. Is like not only do you get to see the country, if you choose to, you get to experience the various regions of our country. The
Right.
Southeast, the Northeast, the Southwest, the Northwest. There are huge differences in those regions of the country. How many times have you heard someone that has a dream, I'm going to work, I'm going to retire, I'm going to buy a motorhome, and we're going to see this country, and they never do it. They
Right.
die, or the dream dies, or something. And here we've gotten paid. It's a huge benefit. We get paid to see the country and experience if we choose to do that.
And one of the things also, you and I met in New York City.
We did. What was the museum we met by? The Met. We met by the Met.
The Metropolitan Museum of Art. We've been able to go to New York City several times, Florida several times, the Outer Banks.
Again,
I
not just, I think a lot
Busch
of
Gardens, Six Flags all over the place.
a lot of drivers will say, oh, I've been to New York City they've just been to a truck stop near there. Or I've been to San Francisco. Well, no, you were at a truck stop near there. We've been in these cities, experiencing
multiple times.
The culture, the food, the sights, talking to people, really experiencing those cities. And I mean, it's just fantastic, I think. Hey, big shout out to Frank for inviting me to their house. I would say we're acquaintances, and they've taken me in today and made a fantastic meal, had coffee, and so I appreciate your hospitality.
Oh, we love having you. One of the things we'd like to do, and I'm a very big people person. It's hard to get me to shut up. This isn't a question, it's more of a statement, and I'll see if you agree with me. What I was talking about, and like I said, this is more of a statement, you can tell me your opinion on it. So you have your young couples, you know, in their mid-20s, early 30s. You have empty nesters, and then you have retirees, you know, the golden agers.
What's another term?
Another term.
I don't know. Yeah, golden agers, I guess.
Golden agers. We'll just stick with
free
that.
Coffee at McDonald's or something.
But these people have hit retirement. They're getting a check, and they're out here. Let me tell you something. Everybody has this idea of retiring, and I forgot what movie it was. It's like when you retire, it's like you start dying.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like I want to keep moving. I want to keep doing something. And there's so many folks out there that are friends of ours that do really well and enjoy their lives, and it's a new career for them, you know. So if you know people that are in their mid to late 60s who aren't done and are interested in doing this, you know, maybe show them this video and talk to them about expediting, and they can look the other videos.
Yeah.
Do you think of anything else that you wanted to talk about, or that you would love to say?
No, I mean, covered all the bases, but I mean, expediting presents a unique opportunity to see the country, to travel, which is a lot of people's dream to do. You know what I mean? And get paid very well, in my opinion, to do so.
Yeah, you do get paid well, and especially, we work for FedEx Custom Critical, and not a bang on FedEx. You know, they've built an incredible system. But when you think about FedEx, you don't think cheap.
No.
That's not the thing you think.
Quality.
You think quality, and you think like, okay, I'm going to get a good service, but I'm going to pay for that service. And all you have to do is overnight a letter, and you figure out how much, you know. Right? So they charge a premium for that name because they provide a service that comes with that name and the quality that you expect with that name. Would you agree?
Yes, I would.
And that's another thing. When we go into places, we're both white glove drivers, like we talked about. When we go into places and there's that uniform, and they see FedEx and they see Custom Critical,
and the way you carry yourself as well.
Right.
So.
How many times have you gone into a place and you jump right to the front of the line?
Right.
Because they're paying so much for that freight, they want it's expedited. You know, pretty much every other freight in the country, they understand that it's going to take a while because they're paying a lot less to get it done. With FedEx Custom Critical, that's not the case. They're loading on a truck. You have team drivers, like I explained. You're driving in shifts. We can cover 1,000 miles in a 24-hour period if you're just taking your time. Right. If you're pushing, you can do 1,300 miles in a 24-hour period. Right. You know, maybe a little bit more if you get everything perfect and you don't encounter any weather or any of the things that can go wrong. But and you pay for that service. And people don't understand, well, why would somebody want to, and I guess this is a good explanation. Sometimes I'll take, and it'll cost $5,000 to ship a $300 part. But for whatever reason, this $300 part can't be put on an airplane and shipped over there, whatever it is. Maybe it's hazmat. Maybe the protocols to get it shipped on the air are a lot tighter and they can't get it done, whatever the reason is. And people say, well, why would you spend so much money to send a $300 part? Well, a lot of times a $300 part is holding up $1 million a day in production for that company.
Right.
So they really don't care what it costs to get it there.
Right.
It's like, get it here now. So, I mean, that explains a little bit more about what we're doing, and we'll do that more later videos. Thank you, Gary, for coming
My pleasure.
in.
Thanks,
I appreciate it, man.
Thank you very much.
And more to come from the road.
More stories.
More stories. Thanks a lot. Have a great day and be safe out there. Bye.
See ya.